Crises of adulthood. Every adult will experience some form of adversity in their lifetime. What matters is how well they avoid predictable crises. To say that the events that are predicted to happen are a crisis is an overstatement. Although some of these so-called crises are easily avoidable, some are hard to run from. I recognize these problems through my readings and through analysis of other adults that I have seen. I feel as if that I am prepared to avoid, embrace, and take on these issues of adulthood. For anyone, the thought of leaving their parents is a scary one. Being young, naive, and lacking worldly knowledge and being thrown into the real world is when life hits you hard. Being young, naive, lacking worldly knowledge. Being young, naive, lacking worldly knowledge, and being thrown into the real world is when life hits you hard. Whether you are off to a university or moving to an apartment a block away, you take on a new set of responsibilities. Moving into an apartment a block away, you take on a new set of responsibilities. We try our best to not make a rebound back to the family between the age of 18 and 22. Shihai 112. We try our very best to not make a rebound back to the family. We try our very best to not make a rebound back to the family between the age of 18 and 22. If I can make it through this rough hump of life relatively scar-free, there's no doubt in my mind that I will achieve my goal of becoming a productive adult in society. The next step on my path to becoming a productive adult in the world is how the book puts it, the trying 20s. At this stage in your progression of becoming an adult is when the pressure is at its highest. People are expected to have their whole life plan laid out and will be expected to have the basics down to fulfill their life plan. I will be far more prepared for the real world at this age, as most people are more stable in their 20s and have had a real taste of the real world. The real world is repetitive. Prepare for the real world. As most people are more stable in their 20s have had a taste of what life is supposed to be like. In my opinion, the 30s seems like the worst year in the book. It has predicted that my life will come crashing down at some point during my mid-30s. Everything that I had worked for in my 20s is all dropped unless I took the correct steps prior. It also makes it clear that I need to not only care about myself in this age, but especially for my significant other, because chances are she's having similar. This is horrible. It also makes it clear the book also makes it clear that I need to not only care about myself, but also for my significant other, because chances are she's having similar issues. Okay. It is predicted that in my 40s, that life will slowly become less hectic. It is predicted that in my 40s, it is predicted that It is predicted that in my 40s, life will become less hectic. Shiha explains that most people have achieved the goals they have set by then and are beginning to wind down relax. Shiha explains that most people have achieved the goals they have set for themselves and are beginning to wind down and relax. Instead of focusing on themselves and their pursuits, they decide to wind down. Wind down is repetitive. Decide to Instead of focusing on themselves and their pursuits, they decide to become more tender, ethical people. After my newly found, more relaxed life begins, my life will be... Oh my gosh. After my newly found, relaxed life begins... After my newly found relaxed life begins, comma, my life will be equilibrium again. After my newly found relaxed life begins. After my newly found relaxed life begins, my life will be equilibrium again. After my newly found relaxed life begins. A newer, calmer chapter After my newly found relaxed life begins, a newer, calmer chapter begins as well. Growing up is scary for everyone, but everyone does it and it is natural. The handbook I read was extremely helpful. Some of the crises that were presented were frightening, but I'm confident that they are avoidable and if not beatable crises. Some of the crises that were presented were frightening, but I am confident that they are avoidable and if not beatable crises. And if not, beatable crises. Some of the crises that were presented were frightening, but I'm confident that they are avoidable and if not, beatable crises. Issues are going to follow me all throughout my life. The best way to deal with them is to take them head on and take control.